So I wanted to make a video about my story, um, because I'm a big stickler about being aware of what story you're telling, because the story you're telling is what is creating your reality. And the story that I am telling has changed a lot in this now moment than it used to be. So, but I want to tell you about my past a little bit, in hopes that it can help. In hopes that it can help you see how it's possible to create heaven on earth, even if you've been through some really hard things. Anyway, so I'm mostly going to talk about I guess I'll start at the beginning. So when I was a child, sorry, I know I'm scattered. When I was a child, I grew up in, I guess, what I thought was a normal family, and I grew up in Utah. Siblings. Anyway, some traumatic things happened when I was a child. Like, I'd been through some abuse situations, and so I had some issues a little. I also felt very, very different, and from a really young age, I just remember feeling very different, not like everybody else. But I also felt, I'm the oldest sibling, and so I also felt like I needed to, I don't know, fix my family. My dad was, oh, there's a hummingbird. My dad was an addict, and my parents had issues, and then I went through a situation where I had gone through some abuse by, not my parents, but like some other people in my family and otherwise. But so I was always like, I need to be the nice kid, and I need to be the fixer of everyone, and I need to just shut up and take it so that I can protect the rest of my family, so as not to rock the boat. And I felt different. I felt just really different, like an alien from somewhere else, just dropped into this world that I didn't understand. And I wanted to make the world a better place, and somehow I knew that I came here to do that, or to create change. And I knew somewhere in my soul, I just knew in my being that I was here for something bigger, and that this wasn't the way the world had to be, and wanted to I wanted to make a change or be the change, but I didn't really know what that meant yet. And I felt very alone a lot, and misunderstood. And so as a child, I remember having like talking to at the time I thought that they were like, I don't know, imaginary friends or whatever. And I was aware that they were imaginary, I guess, or that other people didn't do this, and so I didn't do it outwardly in front of people, but I was always talking to other beings in my mind and in my heart and stuff. And sometimes I even gave them names, and I always thought I was praying to them, but really I was just like talking. And somehow I knew that they could feel everything that I meant and felt, and so I didn't need to lay it all out for them like you would have to a person. Like it was like telepathic, I guess, and they could just know how I felt. And I guess I remembered it from life before I got here. I just remembered that we didn't need words or language to communicate, and I always found it really hard to be able to communicate and find words to explain how I felt, because I remember prior to here not having to do that, because it was just your soul could be felt, and you could feel others just by being in their presence or having the intention of doing so. And so a lot of my world was lived, I don't know, in my head, I guess, or not in my head, but in this world that I had created. And so I was kind of weird. I was a weird kid, and I had some friends and stuff, very few, but I remember not fitting in well, and I remember it was very difficult for me because I felt like I had to mold myself to fit in with my friends, to be normal. And I remember I just remember feeling so like I didn't belong, or that I had to put on masks and mold myself into being whoever my friends wanted to be, whatever specific friend wanted me to be like, or whatever my parents wanted me to be like, or whatever my teachers wanted me to be like. And I just got really good at being whoever the people around me needed me to be. And it was so much work, and I did it my whole life. until now. Like I did that my whole life, and it's exhausting just not being able to be you. And to have to read the room wherever you are so that you could be. I did it in my career. I started a career right after school, and right after high school, and I did accounting. And anyway, I did it there too. And it was always so hard for me and exhausting for me to try to be whoever I had to be just to make other people happy. And just a few years ago, I found some things out about myself that explain a lot of that. And I'll probably talk about this more, but I did find out when I was, so I'm 47 right now, and when I was 43 or 44, I learned that I am autistic, and that I have ADHD. And at the time, I really delved into that because it was such a blessing at the time for me to find that out, because I needed that label to help me understand why I was so different, and why I did the things the way that I did, and it made me understand myself better and realize that I was not broken, or that I wasn't just dumb, that I had a reason that my brain worked differently. And since then, though, I have kind of released the labels. They served a purpose for me. At the time, I got on all these medications, and that's a whole other story. I'm not on them anymore. Anyway, I believe that labels can be so healing in a moment, and then it's almost like you kind of outgrow them. They serve its purpose to do some healing. Anyway, in my case, in this case, and now I just realized that a lot of it was just stuff that I didn't understand, and that I was actually talking to other beings, and I came here to be the change, not to mold myself into the old ways, you know. And I believe in healing your soul and not just throwing medication at something. Not that medication's bad. I know it's needed in some cases. Also, I believe there's an issue with a lot of it. As with anything, I mean, there's moderation, and I'm not making anything right or wrong. Anyway, so I delved into autism and ADHD, and even wrote some books about it, and really delved into that for a while. the bigger thing that was a major turning point in my world was, so when I was, so about 11 years ago, my oldest son passed away, and he drowned in a reservoir while trying to swim across it with a friend. And so there's like my life before that and my life after that. And even when I talk to anybody about my life, it's always like there's before Joey died and after Joey died, because it's almost like two different lives for me. And I was always a deeply spiritual person. Especially when I was younger, because I was connected to other beings and souls but I didn't understand at the time that that's what they were, but I was so connected as a child. And then after certain things happened and abuses happened and a teenager happened, and I guess life happened and I wasn't as connected. But my family had been because my dad had gone through drug rehabilitation and stuff, so my family had been involved in counseling and therapy, and so from that I had some spiritual stuff, and my parents were really got involved in a spiritual community, and so I was spiritual. And I knew I always wanted to do something, and I knew I had a mission to come here and be a change and be spiritual, but I didn't understand. I didn't take it anywhere really until my son passed away, and at that moment I lost it, because when that happened, I was like, what if none of that was real? And what if my son does not exist? What if he doesn't exist and anymore? What if he really is just dead? And that sounds horrible, but that's when that happens. Oh my gosh, like I just questioned everything. I didn't know if he still existed. And I was broken. You're never really broken. So I was very being held, actually. But I felt broken for a long time. I was not okay. And that's the only way I can explain the feeling, is absolutely broken. And I was in a fog for a long time. And I was not okay. And I had a baby. I had a 9-month-old baby. My kids were 18 years apart. My oldest boy that passed away was 19 when he passed away, and my youngest was 9 months old when he passed away. When when my oldest passed away, sorry. Um, so there was 9 months in time that I had them both here on this planet, together. And I was in a desperate search to find out that my son still existed. And there were times where I could hear him saying, "I'm still here, Mom, I'm not gone." Every time I would say, "He's gone," he would say, "I'm not gone, I'm here, I'm right here, more than I've ever been." And it took me a long time to realize that was really him. And some crazy communication happened, and still does. And I will get into that more in later videos. But yeah, I was in this desperate search to know that he still existed. And so I started taking all these classes on mediumship and channeling, and which were great. I didn't realize I was already doing it. But I needed, sorry, I'm going to pause for just a second.